we're seeing Europe's auto bosses essentially begging the European Commission to let them make layoffs, and this really isn't going to go down very well, Poppy, in the climate that we're in.
It's not going to be a popular proposal considering the economic climate. Everybody needs jobs, and national governments need this kind of industrial production. But the issue is not going away for car makers. Demand is set to decline for car makers for the 5th year in a row in 2012, and that's the real problem, Maryam. The industry is under pressure to cut costs and reduce production, but political interference has blocked those restructuring efforts. Now, governments naturally want to prop up demand, and politicians are pushing businesses not to take any jobs away. But here's the problem. Since the financial crisis started, only 2 car plants in Europe have shut. A GM factory in Belgium, and just last week, that Fiat plant in Sicily. But just 2. Now, according to IHS Automotive, that's going to leave a capacity glut of almost 3 million cars by the end of next year. Now, compare that with at least 18 factories that have been closed over in the U.S., where car makers like GM and Chrysler were just forced to tackle that problem of overcapacity. So automakers here in Europe could face years of losses as idle workers and equipment costs money without generating much revenue in the meantime. Now, only one car boss, Fiat Sergio Marchionne, has managed to shut a factory in his home country since the beginning of the financial crisis. Last week, he said he was just pushed to find his own fix to the problem.
Now, the lack of a common intervention strategy in Europe and a failure to act have forced Fiat to find its own solution. I doubt that there is a single European player today that can make money on the strength of the European market alone.
Marchionne and executives from Ford, Peugeot and Daimler are going to Brussels this afternoon, where they'll be looking to the European Commission to use their political muscle to try and strengthen this flagging market.
And yet, Poppy, many of these car companies are relying on financial support from their own governments. So really, what can the European Commission do?
Well, that's where it's going to get a little awkward if the European Commission tries to outmaneuver the national governments. And yes, in the past, national governments have helped European car makers with their auto industry. But the problem is they don't have any money anymore to help subsidize car buyers or car makers.
Yeah.
Between a rock and a hard place, Mary.
All right.